Hello there, this is Simone. I'm here to share my week in review for my October project, which is 31 pens. No, it is not. I have completely forgotten what it's called. 31 inks, 31 pens, 31 letters. I am swatching an ink from my ink sample stash every day. I am filling a pen every day. I am using that pen to write a postcard to someone, and I'm writing about how I like the ink, how I like the ink flow in the specific pen that I chose, and how I like the pen. And that's it. This is the fourth video in this October project series. There's one more to come, and then I'm done. I am getting so much joy out of the process of swatching an ink every morning, filling the pen, writing with it, seeing how I like it. And that's exactly why I decided to jump on this project. This month, instead of other months where I blindly pulled an ink sample, I actually pulled them all ahead of time. So I picked them, I looked at them, I decided right away, oh yes, I want to use this one. No, I don't want to use that one. And then I sorted them into some sort of rainbow order. And I also assigned each ink sample one of the pens, because in the past, I have found that towards the end, I had already used most of the pens that I love prior. And so sometimes the pen and ink combinations wouldn't work out well. This month, I sat down, I had a list of the samples that I was going to use, and then I tried to assign each ink sample a pen that I thought would work well with the ink. This way, I hoped to have a better experience, and so far it is working out really well. So I'm talking about these 7 pens that have inks in them. This Opus 88 with a parallel nib unit. This is an Opus 88 demonstrator with a parallel nib unit that was modified by John Neal Bookworks, I believe is their shop called. This is the radius modification. I am talking about the Pelikan M800 green demonstrator. I'm talking about the Nagasawa Gearske with the gold hardware. I'm talking about the Sailor Pro Gear. I'm talking about the Lamy Safari with a gold nib. I'm talking about one of my newest acquisitions, the Waterman Carène with a medium nib, and then a Benu Euphoria. I also pulled out this Pilot Parallel so that I can talk about comparison, what I like about this and what I don't like about it. And I think we'll just dive right in. Start with the first pen. This is the Opus 88 demonstrator in the 2024 pink colorway. I added this Pilot Parallel nib unit in 4.5 millimeter that was modified by John Neal Bookworks into a radius nib. You can see how it's rounded off. This is how a Pilot Parallel normally looks like. It's just squared, and this is rounded off. However, I had quite a bit of trouble with this pen and ink. I'll tell you about it a little more. I put in Lennon Toolbar Ying Piao. This was an ink that I was really interested and intrigued by when I saw it on Atlas Stationer's Instagram. It's a shimmer ink. It's this blue with gold shimmer. Well, I'm gonna read what I wrote. This is such a weird color. I'm glad I only got a sample. It's that light blue that's just so boring. The nib is harder to handle than the regular parallel nib, which is so weird because I explicitly seeked out this rounded nib because I had been told it was easier to use. Not with this ink. The ink would clog, or the nib would clog multiple times when I tried to write with it. It didn't feel good at all. I really like the pen though, and would love another one to house a parallel nib unit in. However, I don't really like the price that I have to pay in order to put in that nib unit. We'll see. Maybe when Fountain Pen Day comes around and there is a deal on one, I might snag one up. But this is a long-term project and not something that I am necessarily going after right away. Here is, you can see some downstrokes and side strokes. This is when the pen clogged. It clogged really very frequently when writing. It wasn't a good writing experience at all. I had to have a parallel. There is shims for the Pilot parallels. They're thin plastic that you can shove in between the two metal plates. And I had to have it handy while writing. I originally gave the ink a 7, but I don't think I would even go this high. I gave the flow a 10, which is absolutely not true. You will probably have seen if it even worked when I started swatching it on the Maruman paper pad, and I gave the pen a 10. The pen is really lovely. I like the way it feels in my hand, how comfortable it is. So that was the Friday. Saturday, October 19th, I filled my Pelikan M800 green Demonstrator with a fine 18 karat gold nib with Vinta Blue Blood Duong Bughaw. Wow, I thought this was so much darker, but the base color reminds me more of a cyan blue. And this color in particular reminds me of Dieman ruby blues. The flow of the ink in this Pelikan is great, but I also don't recall an ink that didn't flow well in here. Why can I not stick to my dots and my writing is all wonky? I went up and down. The Pelikan is definitely one of the favorites in terms of comfort as well. It's great. The ink, I gave a nope, 2. The flow a 10, the pen a 10. This is definitely one of those pens. Let me see if I can find ruby blues. Yes. This is definitely one of those pens that never disappoints or has not disappointed me yet. So Diamond Ruby Blues is up here. And let me see if I can turn on my light. Not cool. Let's see if this works better. Nope. Yeah. Diamond Ruby Blues is actually even less cyan, I don't know, than Ruby Blues. This looks more even closer to an ultramarine compared to, there is some tiny green specks in here. If I'm looking at this blue sheet here, it looks closest to Krishna Sailor's Blue. Yeah. Then I inked the Nagasawa Gearske that has some condensation right here with gold hardware. I still love and admire this amazing finial with a broad nib with Troublemaker Milky Ocean. This ink I have heard so many bad things about. This is supposed to be a super dry ink. And of all the Troublemaker inks, it is said to behave the driest. And so I never really was very drawn towards trying it. But when I picked it, when I pulled out all the ink samples, I decided, you know what? Let's get this over with. Let me read. Okay, so I kind of love the swatch. This is a fabulous chroma shader. And even the writing is great because the magenta is popping out in every word. I was so afraid of this ink, but it is so good in the Nagasawa. This is one big surprise. Wow, this pen is still love. If I only could keep one sailor, it would be this. The Nagasawa Gearske is a pen made for Nagasawa in Nagasawa. Now I'm like lost. I thought I knew something that I now realize I don't. Made by Sailor. This is the Sailor Pro Gear size. So that's why I'm saying if I could only keep one Sailor, it would be this. So glad I'm using it again. The ink, I originally gave a 10, but then I bumped it down to 9 because the rest is just a boring light blue. I really considered going and buying a bottle of this ink right away, but then I decided to wait because, as I said, sometimes I love these blues, these light blues, but in general, I'm not really drawn to them. The flow is a 10, which was the most surprising part of this whole inking thing, and the pen is a 10. October 21st, 2024 was this Monday. I inked this Sailor Pro Gear in black with a music nib. I will put the swap of this nib that I put into this pen body from my Sailor Pro Gear 2 Hot Habanero in the cards up above, so you can see actually that it's pretty easy to swap out Sailor nibs. And I inked it with Birmingham Pen Co. Milkweed. What a surprise in color. I guess I would like a lot of the lighter colors in this nib as it's nice and broad and wet. It's similar to a stub nib in performance, but not as dry. However, I'm not sure the weird writing angle is enjoyable for longer writing sessions. I'll just have to test it out. Because right now it doesn't seem too bad. It doesn't seem too bad. So I liked writing with it in this journal. When I wrote with it on my postcard, I had a harder time to get the ink to flow evenly. But that is because you have to have a really high writing angle with this nib. The pen is nice and black. I actually like that there is such a weird nib hidden underneath the cap. I gave the ink an 8 because it's a light purple and I know that I only like it in this specific pen. The flow I gave a 10. It shades fabulously. And the pen I gave an 8. This is a Sailor Pro Gear that I like. It's probably not my favorite color. That's why I gave it an 8. I love, though, again, as I said, that this weird nib is in this plain, business-like looking pen. Then on October 22nd, the Tuesday, I inked this Lamy Safari in Violet Blackberry with an extra fine 14 karat gold nib with Sailor Yurameku Date Gokoro. Well, on Cosmo Airlight, this ink looks so similar to the ink pad my mom used to have that smelled so weirdly. And this ink smells weird too. And on this paper, it completely does not fit into the rainbow color, but that's just what happened. On the Wearing Gold swatch card and old Tomoe River paper, it looks more antique and more interesting. The flow is great though. I not only seem very particular with my brown and green inks, because this ain't it either. The extra fine nib on this Lamy is just fabulous. I like it a lot more than the fine. I might need to do some investigating on that. Also, the ink stained the grip section. Meh. So there is some, you can see here, some stains. I'm not that concerned about it. I have some pen flush that I might use on it to get it off. But these matte grip sections by Lamy are very prone to staining, so I need to remember to fill the pen, the ink converter, with a syringe instead of dipping in the grip section into the sample and filling it that way. What I also don't really like about Lamy's, and I don't know if this is just a me problem or if this is a general problem, the threads come undone so often for me. I often find my pen like this, and it doesn't screw tight all the way down. That's such a weird thing. So I gave the ink a 6. This is not something that I would pursue any further. The flow a 10 and the pen a 10 because of the beautiful nib that is on there. Then Wednesday, which was yesterday, I filled this Waterman Carène in black, the gold trim with a medium nib. This is an 18 karat medium nib, and you can see how broad the medium nib actually is, with Birmingham Penco Cherry Blossom. Well. I think I like this more red-leaning purple more than the Birmingham Penco Milkweed that I used 2 days ago. But honestly, I'm surprised I like both of them as much as I do. I like the controlled flow out of the nib. It doesn't feel particularly dry, but it also doesn't gush onto the paper uncontrolled. This morning, I'm feeling the weight of the pen, and it actually made me stop and ponder if it bothers me. I would think it does, otherwise I assume I wouldn't even have noticed. The question to explore, how much does it affect me? I gave the ink a 9, I gave the flow a 10, I gave the pen an 8. Now that I'm thinking about it, probably need to bump up the rating already. I wrote the postcard yesterday and it worked so lovely. It felt so good. That's so weird. Sometimes I notice the weight of this pen and it bothers me, and sometimes I notice the weight of the pen and it feels comfortable even. It feels very good that the pen is so weighty. Man, I really, really love this pen. I did not think I would love it as much. I have an unboxing video of this pen on my channel. I will link it in the cards above. Wow. If I could only keep one Waterman Carène, it would be this one. I would get rid of the fine and keep just the medium nib. It feels so good. It writes so nicely. Wow. And this Cherry Blossom ink, man, it's so pretty. I put it into the red violets, and it reminded me a lot of Sailor Shikiori Yozakura, which I actually didn't like much. So I don't know why this is so nice. Where's Milkweed? Did I not swatch Milkweed in here? What the heck? Did I put it here? Yes. I think I could put the Milkweed over here to the red violets, but Dieman Harmony is similar. There's just this tiny smidgen more red in this ink. Sailor Shikiori Harahara. How does this compare? No. This is more moody. There is some kind of stuff going on. I think it does look very similar to Ferris Wheel Press Grape Ice Pop. I have a bottle of this, so I definitely will not purchase Birmingham Penco Cherry Blossom, but I'm just so surprised that I actually like all three of these, or two of these. There's one more coming that I inked today that I'm, wow, very, 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 very blown away by. So let's talk about it. This is the Benu Euphoria in Gold Coast. I have a broad nib on this at the moment. And I can just say that I do love holo shimmer of any sort. It's weird. I love this black pen just as much as I love this holo shimmer. I don't think you have to choose one side. You can love all the pens for all the various reasons. I inked this pen with Van Dieman's Mad Half Hour. I heard some things about this ink. It doesn't perform super well for a lot of people in many pens. So I was wondering, am I going to put it in a parallel nib? But I decided to try the broad nib first and see how that is going to work for me. Wow, this color is stunning. I can't even describe what makes it so special. It's saturated, not too red, not too blue, but also not just a plain red, violet, magenta color. Considering that this is a Schmidt nib, it feels very draggy on this paper. Actually, I'm not sure. It seems fine now. As with all my Euphorias, of which I have 2, this pen feels amazing. I love the design and the feeling in my hand. So I gave the ink a 9. It's definitely not perfect. I'm a little afraid of the shimmer, but the shimmer it feels like this might even be a holo shimmer too. Let me show you what it looks like on here, or a blue shimmer maybe. It looks holographic to me. And what else? So I gave the ink a 9, the flow an 8. I tried it on Tomoe River paper and it felt okay, but I'm really not sure how it will perform once it sits for a while. And the pen a 10. Yeah, Benu Euphoria feels like the perfect pen for me for longer writing sessions. It is just amazing. So, what else do I have to say about this? I can feel how I'm slowing down, how my excitement is slowly coming to an end. Like, you know, the overabundance of excitement. It's not feeling like a chore yet, but I'm glad that there is only 7 more days left in the month. It's not necessarily to say that this project is failing, but I can now feel how I would love to move on to something else. And I'm going to do that. I think I'm able to finish out this next 7 days. I caught up on writing postcards. The only postcard I still need to write is the one from today. So that is off my plate. And I'm very excited to finish out the project in 7 days. I will be sharing one more video where I'll also hopefully share some of the surprises, disappointments that I had, pens that I want to investigate more because maybe something came up that I didn't expect. I hope that you had fun watching this. I hope you are doing something that brings you joy. This is what I noticed, or the essence of this whole experiment or project for October, was that I was looking forward to swatching an ink, to filling a pen every day. It was a joyful moment at the start of my day. And I started out my days completely differently than not having these short moments of joy that then I was looking forward to actually using it in the afternoon. And it gave my whole days a different feeling. And I hope that there's something in your days that fill you with joy and get you through the darker moments of each day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon. Until the next time, bye.